Good evening and welcome to the campus of James Madison University and Sun Belt Conference Women's Basketball. Tonight inside the Atlantic Union Bank Center, the first place Marshall Thundering Herd with its best 18-game record since 1986-87 and the only unbeaten team in the Sun Belt comes in to take on the preseason favorites, the Dukes of James Madison, who are somewhat in a bit of uncharted waters at 3-3 in conference play. Hello everyone, she is Missy Buck, Hall of Fame member here at James Madison University for women's basketball. I'm Kurt Dudley, and Cece Evans also joins us here today. Missy, we got a pretty good ball game lined up here tonight, and we've got a treat for everybody because we not only have the number one scorer in the Sun Belt on the floor tonight, also the number two scorer in the league. Let's start with James Madison's Peyton McDaniel.
Absolutely. Peyton McDaniel doesn't get much better than that. She's only 10 points shy of 2,000 points. We might see that happen here tonight. Sun Belt preseason player of the year. She leads the Sun Belt in scoring, 18 points a game. This is her final year in Harrisonburg, Kurt, and I know the one record she'd love to bring back here is another championship.
No doubt about it. 138 career games as she will come to the court here tonight in the starting lineup for the Dukes of James Madison. And then you have Tamaya Lewis-Utsty, who is second in the conference in scoring at 16.8 points per game.
Yeah, second in scoring, but first in steals, Kurt, at 3.56 a game. She's also eighth in the Sun Belt in assists. She's only 2 points shy of 1,000. We might see two pretty tremendous players hit two pretty tremendous records tonight.
Milestones after milestone. We'll keep an eye on those for you this evening. All right, let's welcome in the third member of our broadcast team here tonight. Cece Evans is along with us, and she has had a chance to dig into this game from the coach's perspective. Good evening, Cece.
Good evening, Kurt. We have two teams coming off of two different results, so you better believe the keys are going to be different. For Coach O'Regan, he just wants the Dukes to play with heart and to be themselves. For the undefeated Thundering Herd, Coach Folks wants a better job in the defensive transition, specifically in the second quarter. Consistent aggressiveness while still being able to play in the half court. And of course, she said they have to be able to score.
And the Dukes with the opening possession of the basketball game from the right wing. There's a three-pointer dropped in by Bree Robinson, her 14th of the season. And they slough off her just a little bit. She's shooting at only 23% from beyond the arc, which gives James Madison the early lead. And there's the starting lineup for the Marshall Thundering Herd, presented to you by Atlantic Union Bank. As you have Yeast, Lewis-Utsty, Ilderton, Mayer, and Marigny. And all of them have had some pretty good success against the Dukes over the years. Three-point shot from the outside. This is a Marshall team, Missy, that we will see launch a lot of threes. And they get back and play a lot of the zone. And there's a three-point try by Peyton McDaniel. Zakiya Stevenson, Bree Robinson, Peyton McDaniel, Ashanti Barnes, and Grace McDonough. Dukes have had the same starting five for every ball game this year, and this is game number 19. Down low, getting loose for an easy shot inside, but the shot is a little too strong for Mayer, who is a great outside shooter. Here goes Zakiya Stevenson. She gets it inside, and picking up the basketball and putting it into the hoop for the Dukes is Grace McDonough.
Boy, what a quick start to this game. Transition basketball for both of these teams. So maybe we'll see that zone here in a second, but not yet.
Well, the Marshall Thundering Herd, as Coach Folks told us and Cece alluded to, really has to be sharp on transition defense. That's something that they've lacked, particularly it seems to be in the third quarter this year. And there's a rebound. This is also a Marshall team, Missy, which I was kind of stunned by this, but it was Coach Folks that brought us to our attention. They will get about 50% of their misses. I mean, if you talk about 50% of offensive rebounds, that's astronomical, and they do so because they do a little risk management. They know the ball is going to come off about 6 feet off the rim, so they're in a particular rebounding zone. There's Ashanti Barnes with the inside shot for the Dukes, a little mid-range there, and JMU off and running 7-love.
And that could be the Achilles heel for this zone by Marshall. If Barnes can find that shot right there at the foul line. High post.
Barnes coming off a double-double of 11 points and 14 rebounds, although it was in a loss by James Madison at Georgia State last Saturday. Inside out they go. A block by McDonough. It stays at that end, and the Dukes defense has come early.
Yeah, good defense by McDonough there. Not sure I've seen her with a blocked shot yet this year, Kurt.
There's Coach Julie Folks, played at Capital, finished up there in 2000 in her second year at Marshall, and she is one of a handful of coaches across the country that got over 400 career wins in less than 20 seasons. That's remarkable. Another short-range miss. That can't keep up for Marshall.
Also picked up a D3 championship along the way as well.
Stevenson thought about it, asking for a double dribble. I don't think she ever picked it up. Coach Falk looked for it. As our officials today are Timothy Green, he is the crew chief, Kara Sigi, and Quinn Mathlin. And the bucket again by Ashanti Barnes as she is up to 4. And it is a 9-0 James Madison burst to start this ball game. These two teams played on December 20th, which for the JMU folks, that's a memorable day. That's when JMU made its college football playoff debut, and a turnover for Marshall, somewhat unforced, as it's picked up by Peyton McDaniel. And McDaniel long-range 3, off the mark, offensive rebound, up and in, and tumbling through, and a timeout is called by the Thundering Herd as Ashanti Barnes has a quick 6 and the Dukes have a quick 11, and it's an 11-0 advantage for James Madison. Barnes with a little inside play for the Dukes off the glass. The second chance points tumble through, and the Dukes with the early lead. Atlantic Union Bank, show your JMU pride with a Design Mine debit card. The switch is on. Well, as mentioning, James Madison and Marshall, they played on December 20th, the same day that JMU football was playing Oregon in the college football playoff. An 83-74 overtime contest. That was kind of interesting. I was out in Oregon listening to a 10 o'clock in the morning ball game because of the time of the day. Certainly was a little different there. But in that ball game, James Madison had a 58-51 lead going into the fourth quarter. But Marshall in overtime was perfect from the field, 4 for 4, including a three-pointer, 7 for 7 at the free throw line, and won it going away 83-74. The Dukes were 1 for 11 in the extra period. Three-pointer is lofted up and missed again. James Madison not providing any second chance points as the Herd is off to an 0 for 8 start shooting. Oh, great ball movement.
Yeah, great teamwork by the Dukes. They're really sharing the ball well this evening.
Give Ashanti Barnes an assist. Again, coming off an 11-point, 14 rebound performance against Georgia State. The Dukes did lose that ball game. James Madison coming in with back-to-back conference losses. That's only happened one other time since they've joined the Sun Belt. That was a couple of years ago. JMU going 18-0 last year. And there it is to break the run as Chesterfield, Nakaya scores the bucket, and she puts the Thundering Herd on the board with just over 5 minutes to go. Most of her starts have come since the second week of December. That also denied JMU tying its longest run of the season at 15 straight points, and Ashanti Barnes is blistering hot. She has 8.
Yeah, she's been hot the last few games. In fact, the last game you just mentioned, the Georgia State game, was her second double-double of the season in the Sun Belt. She's got 6 overall, I think 14 for her career. Really turned it on this year for the Dukes offensively. Stevenson
with a long-range shot, no good. Rebound comes out, it's Yeast. She'll drop it off. Ilderton, who has made a dramatic improvement. She was good to begin with, but she has made a great jump to the next level this year.
Well, just fits Coach Falk's program perfectly. Sees the court well, and just an excellent fourth quarter player. Knows how to win.
Chesterfield with an offensive rebound. Ball is on the floor, picked up by the Dukes. Robinson to McDaniel. McDaniel yet to get on the scoreboard. Robinson tries another tray, and she's got it.
Yeah, the Dukes are coming out sizzling this evening here. It's an awfully cold day outside, but it's not cold for the Dukes.
Robinson, 14 points on the road trip last week, 14 against Georgia Southern. Now she is also 5 assists away from what she finished up with last year. She comes into today's game with 60 assists, finished with 65 last year. And with 8 seconds, the three-point shot and another rebound for McDaniel.
Yeah, JMU's defense has really stifled Marshall to this point.
That's McDaniel's second rebound, so that gives her 897 in her career. And there is the bucket to put her in the scoring column.
There's 2 down, 8 to go for 2,000.
3 other Dukes in the history of this program have scored over 2,000 points. And all of them, Sean O'Regan knows them all. He has been involved with each and every one of them.
I bet you do too, Kurt.
Well, that is true. Very true. In fact, one of the top rebounders all time at JMU, who was just passed by McDaniel a while back, Kirby Burkholder, in the Hall of Fame as you are. Today's her birthday, as a matter of fact.
Happy birthday, Kirby.
All right, a number of subs coming in for both teams. So on the floor, coming in is, let's see, for the Thundering Herd, Blessing King, who is a tremendous rebounder, coming off the bench to do so. Also out on the floor is Cassie Ingram, a sophomore from Cincinnati, Ohio. She stands in at 5'11". And for King, who is a transfer from Morehead State, 5'10". She is. And the Dukes have gone with Regina Walton. Now it goes inside as Bree Robinson, with a couple of triples, adds a deuce to her cause. She's up to 8, and the Dukes have a 22-2 advantage.
Yeah, Barnes and Robinson both with 8 tonight already.
Inside, fumbling the basketball on the floor. There's Elderton on the move, gets free, but it's knocked away momentarily by Bree McLeod, who just did come in. And the Dukes defense swarming. The three-pointer, the bottom of the twine, that is, and it's out of bounds.
Yeah, it's some chaos on the defensive end here. Marshall just cannot get settled. Really not gotten a good look at the basket yet.
Marshall 1 for 13, incredibly so, 8%. The Dukes, meanwhile, 10 of 14 from the floor. Also in the lineup for the Dukes, Delilah Soltis, who's been at JMU for just over a year now. Her first practice here was December 26, 2024. There's a nifty move inside, taken by Regina Walton.
Little G, nice take to the bucket. Don't get to see a whole lot of G. Walton, but it's with Stevenson on the bench there. Nice take by Walton, the transfer from Elon.
This is just her 9th game. And losing the basketball going up is Blessing King with 1:03 to go. And checking in, Ariana Redman, and Redman from Pickerington, Ohio. There's Coach Sean O'Regan, 10th season as the Dukes head coach, and you see the numbers there. He is also 130 and 35 in conference regular season games. That includes his time as a coach here at JMU in the Colonial Athletic Association and in the Sun Belt. 130 wins, 35 losses, a winning rate in conference games of 79%. So that's why it's uncharted for him to be 3-3 at this point of the year.
Yeah, that's why he's not been probably in a great mood the last week. But he has his team ready to play. That's for sure.
Tonight. No question. Kylie Marshall on the floor. She just took the three-pointer for the Dukes, a 5'11 junior from Mansfield, Texas, and a transfer from SMU.
And almost 70% from the floor for the Dukes here in the first quarter, as opposed to just 8%.
Well, you would think the law of averages, both teams will make a bit of an adjustment, come back to earth both ways.
One would think.
But only one field goal in this quarter, and the fewest points in the first half by a team for the Dukes was against Elon in 2019. The Phoenix scored just 9 points in that half. Now we're playing quarters, but it's pretty impressive here as that is rattled down.
That's about the best finish you could possibly have at the end of that amazing quarter for the Dukes.
Well, Missy, you asked me what I thought about this game. I said I really didn't know. I didn't know this was certainly going to happen. 27-2. 25-point lead after 1 quarter of play. as the Marshall Thundering Herd came in undefeated, but on their heels to start tonight's ball game.
During preseason, most fans would have never believed that this team would be 3-3 in conference play. Least of all, Coach O'Regan. In fact, if the Dukes were to lose tonight, it would be the first time they've lost 3 straight games since being in the CAA in the 2021-22 season. However, Coach O'Regan is ready to put it behind him and to move on while also learning from it. He told me, I don't care if we're playing inside, outside, home, or away. We better come with an edge and start acting like we know who we are to get back to our mission, and that all starts today.
Tough shot there, and the Dukes come up with a rebound as Marshall in that first period 1 for 13 from the floor. That's 7.7%. The Dukes 12 of a 17, 70.6%. Just an incredible first 10 minutes in this ball game.
Another stat to point out, the Dukes didn't have any turnovers in the first quarter, and that's been another thing that's really been their Achilles heel, averaging just about 16 a game. It's really hurt them here in the last 2 losses as well.
Smacking the basketball for the inbounds is Regina Walton, and the Dukes hang on. That ball is deflected. Hang on, I think it was last touch by one of the Thundering Herd players, I do believe. Yes, as JMU will inbound it.
So Marshall brought this cold weather across the mountain.
Brought it with them, yeah.
To the other side of the mountain. Whew.
McDaniel bumping off, and her shot's too long. Marshall with the rebound, getting a hand on it. Good effort, and a whistle and a foul, I should say. And this was called against Cassie Ingram. That is her first. You know what? That's the first foul of the game.
Is it really?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
that was a crazy
haven't
first
had a
quarter.
chance to foul. It's been too quick.
I mean, check my watch. This game started at 6:05. I mean, that was almost real time and game time were nearly the same as Delilah Soltis joins the scoring party.
The lefty just shot that with her right hand on that running one-hander floater. That was beautiful.
She's the 6th James Madison player to score, and it's 29-2 James Madison.
I think the Dukes here in Harrisonburg have a lot to look forward to with Delilah Soltis. She's just an incredible player. I see her really stepping up, possibly filling McDaniel's shoes over time.
McLeod with the block for the Dukes.
Another block. Excellent shot blocker.
She's got 34 on the season. And McDaniel, wild throw up, and second shot, no good for Soltis.
Speaking of blocks, I misspoke earlier. Miss Grace McDonough has more than 1 block this year. She has 12. I have to correct myself on that.
And the Marshall Thundering Herd gets its second field goal. A 3-pointer from the outside by Ilderton.
If Ilderton gets hot, this game could cool down quickly for the Dukes.
Yeah, she is an excellent 3-point shooter. That's her 38th dropped in this year. A 39% shooter from beyond the arc. Soltis takes it into the paint. Paint touch. Here goes Walton back out to Soltis. Left-handed 3. Comes off hard. And up and under, won't fall in. Make that McLeod, though, with the rebound and her outlet pass a little too tall. Oh, hang on there. Walton's okay. That actually reminds me, when these two teams met in December, a young lady by the name of Olivia Olson had a career night. She dropped in 26 points, was 8 for 16 from the field, 6 of 11 on 3-pointers, 4 of 4 at the free throw line, 26 points. 2 games later, however, with 3 3/4 of a minute remaining against App State, she injured herself. And then on Tuesday, Coach Folks told us that they were announcing her season is done. She's out for the rest of the year. And she's in that gray area for, I'm sure they'll appeal for a redshirt status.
Well, I certainly hope she gets it. She's only got a couple games in with the Sun Belt, and what, eight games total. Yeah, what an excellent player. When I saw that game in Huntington, and And the announcer kept saying the freshman, and I was like, there's no way that kid's a freshman. He's making mistakes. I had to Google it, and sure enough, what an incredible player. I wish her the best in her recovery and look forward to seeing a lot more of Olivia Olson.
Cassie Ingram is whistled for the foul. That is her second. Tied her season high with 19 minutes and season high 11 points against Coastal Carolina in the most recent ball game. Into McDaniel, one-on-one, bumps, and a foul. James Madison will go to the free throw line, and the coaching staff of Marshall a little upset with the call as Chesterfield is called for the foul, and it sends Peyton McDaniel to the free throw line. What do you see, Missy?
Here's another look at it. Nope, McDaniel, well, yeah. It depends on how they're calling the game. McDaniel using her size. She's got size, that's why she uses it.
McDaniel's season high this year, 29. That came against Kent State in the season opener. Her career high, 33, came against Southern Miss in January of 24. Right now, she leads the Sun Belt in scoring, is 8th in rebounding. So rebounding number 7.3. And 8th in field goal shooting percentage at 43%. The whistle on the Dukes, and that's on McDaniel, and that is her first. In fact, the first infraction by the home team this evening.
That's got to be the toughest play or toughest call to make, and for the officials is that charge. Just like on the other end with McDaniel. I've seen it called both ways.
Here's Lewis Utsi, averaging 16.8 points per game. Oh, correction. Okay, they called the foul actually on Bree Robinson, not on Peyton McDaniel. So check that for you. 1 out of 2 for Lewis Utsi, but she is also in the scoring column. There's Robinson to Barnes from the free throw line. And she is in double figures in a hurry. That's the 43rd time in her career, 14th time this season.
That's another one of those high post turnaround jumpers that is really tough to stop if you're playing zone.
And that kind of surprised Marshall last year. I think Coach Falks was talking about that. They planned for one thing to happen, and here comes Barnes, and she's hitting those shots from around the free throw line, and they did not anticipate that. Okay, there is a foul on McDaniel, so now my stat sheet is correct.
Double ought pick that one up.
I want to thank Kate Carrier for catching that one for me. May you catch many fly balls this spring, Kate Carrier. Absolutely. (33-7) James Madison. The 27 points in the first quarter is the largest margin, the largest scoring output by the Dukes in the opening frame this season. And there's a three launched in again by Ilderton. That's her second. This is her 94th career game.
Yeah, that quick release. She's got that refuse to lose mentality. Ilderton is from Logan, West Virginia.
She had 10 points against the Dukes, 4 rebounds and 4 assists, and a season high 4 personal fouls in that game against the Dukes on December the 30th. She has a chance at 3 straight double-figure games entering tonight.
Oh, she's got an impressive assist to turnover ratio, 52 assists to only 38 turnovers.
Pops it in from the outside.
Good stat for somebody that's got a lot of time with the ball in their hands.
Robinson, little pump fake, got her defender off of her. And Robinson is in double figures for the 15th time in her career and the 10th time here in 25-26.
Yeah, and every game that goes by, Bree Robinson looks more comfortable with the ball in her hands offensively.
She had actually been on a little bit of a quiet stretch here most recently.
Hey, there's block number 13 for Grace McDonough on
Trying
the year.
To drop it off, and fortunate bounce for the Dukes. Stevenson back out on the court, tries the tray, no good. 2 Dukes go up for it, and it's Barnes that racks it up. 3-point try by Robinson on a heat check. Weak side rebound collected by Yeast, who averages 4.6 per game. Yeast is 1 point away from 100 in her season. Under 5 minutes to go. Second quarter, quick moving ball game. Off the back of the iron, Soltis. who recently grabbed 10 rebounds in a ball game for her first double-figure effort, and a foul.
Soltis gets a lot of rebounds for the amount of minutes that she plays on this court. Very aggressive player.
There's a timeout on the floor as the clock is stopped with 4:41, so immediate timeout is what is in store for us. James Madison's looks more like a football score, 35-10, as we go into this media timeout. Back to the Atlantic Union Bank Center after these messages. Well, the Dukes had a little trouble down in Georgia last week. See some of those numbers there. And with that, the Dukes came back with a record of 3-3. And Coach O'Regan made me think a little bit on Monday during his press conference, because he said, I don't think I've ever been 3-3, even when he was an assistant coach with Kenny Brooks. So I checked that out. The last time James Madison, 6 games into the conference schedule, was 500 or lower was the 04-05 season. They were 2-4 after 6 games. Now, that was also the second full season as Kenny Brooks as the head coach. The rest, we'll say, is history. That was the first of his many consecutive winning records after that. That team ended up going 18-11. The Soltis at the free throw line.
Well, Sean has a good memory.
Yeah. Soltis has 3 as the free throw shooter of 74%, knocks it down. And it's a 36-10 James Madison advantage.
Yeah, I know the Dukes aren't used to losing in the conference, but I tell you, the jump from the Colonial to the Sun Belt, it's a big move for these teams athletically, all the teams for James Madison. Of course, football, look what they're doing. But, yeah, I think the talent is just at a much higher level.
Peyton McDaniel, that gives her 7. That's her first tray of the night, 1 for 4 from beyond the arc, 2 of 7 overall. Got a free throw.
McDaniel can hit that 2,000 milestone before halftime. Needs 3 more.
Nice move there for Ilderton. Finds some open space. Boy, hitting the floor hard goes King. King calling for the ball. Stepping back is Mayer. Mayer drops it in.
We know she can do that. We've seen Meredith Mayer light it up for a few years now.
Yeah, she had 20 points in the overtime win against JMU in the Sun Belt title game. You may recall that one.
And she seems to play really well in Pensacola, too.
Yeah, so her 76 trays, 3rd most in Marshall women's basketball history, 76 last year. Rebound for the Thundering Herd. Elderton working with Stevenson on her. She'll bring it out high. 5'6", a senior from Logan, West Virginia. Left-handed dribble. Kicks it back out. Chesterfield. And Stevenson steals it away. Tried to drop that pass in. Good idea, but Mayer sniffed it out, and she was there for the steal. That was wise basketball defense.
Yes, it was.
That is the Dukes' only 2nd turnover this afternoon, or this evening, I should say. That stays at that end of the floor with the Thundering Herd. Dukes will sub up as Brianna McLeod comes back in, as does Ashanti Barnes and Regina Walton.
Yeah, seeing Walton more in this rotation for the Dukes tonight. I haven't seen a whole lot of her this year.
I'm kind of curious because Coach O'Regan's trying to cut down on turnovers. If minutes, managing minutes might be part of the equation to that.
That makes a whole lot of sense.
Weak side rebound comes off to McDaniel, and that is her 3rd. So she's 2 away from 900. And if she reaches that mark, she'll be the 5th player to do so in James Madison's history. And the Dukes have been playing women's basketball for a long, long time. In fact, this is the 104th season.
And that's before my time even. Imagine that. And Marigany just got a nice block there on the other end. I believe that was Bree Robinson and going to the hoop. Marigany, great shot blocker for Marshall.
Lewis Utsty with a kick out, finds Yeast. Mayer. Ball fake, McDaniel on her. They've played against each other quite a bit, so they're very familiar with one another. Lewis Utsi over the top it goes.
Nice look. That shows you what a great passer Lewis Utsi is.
And the second foul is called against Peyton McDaniel.
Duke's foul on number 00, Peyton McDaniel.
And McDaniel's been a little quiet lately by Peyton McDaniel's standards. If you go the last 6 games, shooting only 25% on three-pointers and averaging just under 13 points during that stretch.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to perform at that peak level every single night when you got a target on your back. And she's been the best player on this Dukes team offensively for a couple seasons now, at least 2. And she's getting a lot of box and one coverage. She's getting a lot of extra looks that some of these other teams or some of these other players on her teams, on this team, is not.
She's going to get a long break now because of 2 fouls. Coach O'Regan has pulled her off the court. Only 1:40 to play here in the first half.
McDaniel opens up so much for her players because of the defensive pressure that she attracts. One of those stat things that doesn't show up in the column.
Robinson taking that last shot. May have anticipated some contact that she did not get. Shooting a little bit more down to earth for both teams in the second quarter. And an easy bucket. Good read from Mayer as she finds Marigny down low. Marigny has her first field goal. She's got 4 points. She averages just 2.8 per ball game. Kylie Marshall on the court for James Madison. Here's Robinson looking inside against the zone.
Barnes running the baseline with the zone. Looked wide open there for a second.
Got Marshall open. That's a 3 she can make. Shot clock still in effect as Marshall will come down and try to cut just a little bit more off this lead. And reaching around and knocking the ball away, McLeod should get credited with the steal. Robinson holds her footing. Marshall steps into a 3. Rebound is fought for. And coming away with it, Lewis Utsi. The Thundering Herd on a 7-0 run, make it 9-0 to cut into what was a huge gap, cutting it down to 20.
Another assist by Lewis Utsi. Nice pass to Chesterfield. Yeah, they're chipping away here at this Dukes lead.
Dukes led by as many as 29. Robinson in a keyhole, actually a little deeper than that, trying to get it into the bucket, but in and out it goes. Well, James Madison spurting out to a 27-2 lead after the first quarter. Second quarter a little bit more reasonable for both as the Thundering Herd cuts into that gap, outscoring the Dukes 17-12 in the second frame. That was a quick first half here of action at the Atlantic Union Bank Center. We've got halftime activities coming your way. We'll take a look at some Sun Belt Conference news for you. Also, we have a walk and talk with Peyton McDaniel and CeCe Evans. All that in store for you when we return to the Atlantic Union Bank Center. Well, James Madison starting off with a 13-0 run, led after the end of one quarter 27-2, and maintains a 19-point advantage over the Marshall Thundering Herd here this evening. Welcome back inside the Atlantic Union Bank Center. I'm Kurt Dudley, and for Peyton McDaniel coming into tonight and a good fix on hitting a couple of milestones, 2,000 career points and 900 career rebounds. Well, she's just 3 points away from the 2,000 in the scoring column and needs 2 more rebounds to reach 900 off the glass. And recently she had a little walk and talk with our own CeCe Evans.
I'm here inside the AUBC with Peyton McDaniel. Peyton, we're in an empty AUBC now, but how special is it that you get to call this place home?
Yeah, it's so special. Being able to have our awesome fans, our coaching staff, and just my teammates I love being around, so it's really special to call this place home.
You've been here for quite some time. What made you decide to come to JMU, and what's made you decide to stay all this time?
Yeah, it was a tough decision out of high school, deciding to come here, but ultimately Coach O helped a lot with that decision. And then being able to stay, it's just, the environment, my teammates, this school, and the community has really just felt like home and felt like family to me.
You've broken plenty of records. Has it gotten tiring breaking all these milestones over time?
No, and not really something that I always look at. I think every year the goal is the same, to win a championship. So the accolades are cool along the way, but that's always the ultimate goal.
And then speaking of the ABC, do you have a favorite moment out of your years here in here?
Favorite moment in the ABC? I would say one that comes to my mind is Ball State last year. When we beat them at home. I think it was kind of a revenge game from us from the previous year. And then also Virginia Tech at home this year was a really cool environment.
Off topic of the ABC, what is your favorite basketball shoe, Peyton?
My favorite basketball shoe, Sabrina's. I love Sabrina's. We just got the newest Sabrina's, are purple, but I like the Sabrina 2s and 3s.
Do you have a specific favorite colorway of uniform you like to wear for games?
I really like our pink, but I do like our whites at home.
Well, time for the Sun Belt halftime report here on ESPN Plus, as we bring you up to date on Sun Belt women's basketball news. Here at halftime, the news is James Madison up by 20, 39-19. Player of the week this week from Georgia Southern, Keisha Anderson. Pretty good game against James Madison, 26 points, 5 boards, also 3 thefts, and then added 22 more against the Monarchs of Old Dominion. Now, she and the Eagles will be here on Saturday to face the Dukes. That's a 1 o'clock start time. For tickets, go to jmutickets.com 24/7. So for the last 5 contests, she has been good for 20 points, no less than that. And an 8-game winning streak. That's their best in over a decade for the Eagles. Again, they come in after last night. She there on the bottom. They won over Georgia State 66-55. So they're eyeballing this ball game, I'm sure, because they're just a game back in the loss column behind Marshall, which is undefeated at 6-0. Georgia Southern 6-1. So they're looking to pull into a first place tie. And here are those standings with Marshall, Georgia Southern. Troy 5-1, came up with a win yesterday. Arkansas State. Then things get a little jumbled there, as you might understand. James Madison trying to get out of that log jam, at least stay ahead of the log jam with a 3-3 record. Dukes and Old Dominion yet to play one another this year. JMU has already played Georgia State twice, and this is the second meeting against Marshall. And you see the rest of the pack as it all works out there. Again, the Dukes are home here on Saturday at 1 o'clock for the Marshall Thundering Herd after today's ball game. Well, they continue at a road stretch. This is 3 in a row they've got coming up here. They're at Old Dominion on Saturday, and then they'll travel down to face Southern Miss for their next encounter. So they're not at home again until, actually, they're in the midst of a 4-game road swing. They're not at home again until January 28th against Troy. And so they've got a difficult stretch, which Coach Folks was talking about in our conversation with her earlier this week. 39-19 our score. We'll be back with more from the Atlantic Union Bank Center after these messages. James Madison 39-19 over the Marshall Thundering Herd. The Dukes shooting at 43% in the first half. The Thundering Herd 26.9, and that's spelling this 20-point difference. We'll continue, and we'll be back with the start of the second half after these messages. You're watching Sunbelt Women's Basketball on ESPN+. And we welcome you back to the Atlantic Union Bank Center. We have 1,929 on hand today. Again, school is not yet in session. The students come back this weekend. Classes will begin next Tuesday, so that will influence the crowd going forward, of course, as we get the second semester underway. All right, let's take a look at some of the highlights. Boy, what a hot start for James Madison in this ballgame, Missy. 70.6% in the first quarter, hitting 12 of 17 to take a 27 5-2 lead. You can't predict that. I mean,
No.
that's just one of those odd things that happens.
Yep. It doesn't happen very often either, it seems like.
Not at all. Now, to contrast that, the Dukes in the second quarter, you were pointing this out, Missy, shot just 20% in that frame. Meanwhile, for the Marshall Thundering Herd, starting off at 7.7% shooting, but then in the second quarter shot 46.2%. So right now for the ball game, JMU at 43, Marshall at 27. And the Dukes starting off with Peyton McDaniel. That gives her 9 points. She is one away from 2K.
That was a nice take to the bucket, too. Peyton McDaniel made it look easy, but that was not an easy shot.
So 41-19. Ilderton driving up against Stevenson. Shot is way short. Robinson on the run out. And she hits it with the left hand.
Wow, that's great composure to regain her composure there for that shot. Wow, she was moving at a different direction. Great pass by AB. Great composure by Robinson.
Robinson with a dozen points. Again, 14 points 2 games ago against Georgia Southern. Foul is on Grace McDonough. That is her first. McDonough, a 6'2 freshman from Harleysville, Pennsylvania, Lansdale Catholic. She has started every game this year for the Dukes.
Yeah, really starting to get her feet under her here in the Dukes uniform. Been a fun player to watch.
Ball tapped out. Last touch by the Thundering Herds.
McDonough seems to be a very unselfish player. I know she's a freshman. She's getting minutes when Sean wants to give them to her, but she just seems to really be a nice fit in this JMU team, both offensively and defensively.
That was Marigny that knocked it out for the Thundering Herd. Barnes with a double-double of 10 points, 10 rebounds, and adds 2 more as I tell you that. As her double-doubles, let's see, that gives her, 22 double-figure rebounding efforts, 14 double-doubles on this season, on her career, I should say. Robinson all the way to the rim, got partially blocked as Marigny gets a piece of it. Now, Marigny, as I mentioned, has been a starter since December the 11th for the most part, and that's not new for her. Last year she started in 14 of the 31 games in which she appeared in. Had 5 points in 26 minutes against the Dukes on December 20th. McDaniel, first opportunity for 2,000.
Hey, and there's 1,000. Speaking
one.
of 1,000s.
You are correct, Missy.
There is 1,000 for Miss Tamaya Lewis Utsi. Congratulations to her.
So you get a chance to look at it again. As was held scoreless in the first half, needed just a field goal, and she comes up with it early here in the second half. Personal foul called against Bree Robinson, and a 3-point play for number 3 of the Thundering Herd. Robinson has 2 fouls. Pressure applied. Stevenson will bring it up unabated. Robinson, here's McDaniel, a bump. McDaniel, I think she anticipated McDonough was going to be there.
I think Marigny got a piece of that ball, Kurt. I think it was a little either deflection or on the pass or maybe a block shot, depending on if McDaniel was shooting.
Yeah, from this angle, I really couldn't tell. Right? Yeah, it looks like it was a shot.
There you go.
Should be credited with the block, I do believe. That would be my vote, and looking at it on the replay. Coach Julie Fulks in her second season, before she took over for Kim Caldwell, who is 36-13 in her time at the University of Tennessee. Went 24-10 last year, advanced to the Sweet 16, lost to Texas. Currently 12-3 this year.
And Marshall has stayed in this 2-3 zone.
And a miss for Barnes.
Now Barnes shows that she is actually human here this evening on the court for the Dukes.
By the way, Tennessee plays Kentucky, and Coach Kenny Brooks on The 18th coming up this weekend. Or early next week, should say.
Nice take by Peyton Elderton, just couldn't get it to drop. And there's Bree Robinson on the other end, just her quickness.
14 for her and another assist. Barnes picks up.
Yeah, Robinson has had almost a flawless game here for the Dukes.
Dukes with 10 assists on 20 field goals.
A couple more points there for Marigny, for Marshall. Not a big score, but she's a great shot blocker. We've got two of the best shot blockers in the Sun Belt on the court, or in the arena tonight, with McLeod from James Madison and Marigny with Marshall.
McDonough misses on the putback opportunity. One of the remarkable numbers about McDonough is that 65% of her rebounds are on the offensive end. She and McLeod both have more offensive rebounds than they do defensive rebounds. Yeah,
just keeping that ball alive.
McDonough coming into today's game with 30 offensive, 16 defensive, and McLeod 40 offensive, 37 defensive. Everybody else, the defensive numbers are higher.
And this is a good rebounding team, so that's an impressive stat for the freshman McDonough, especially.
So Lewis Utsi with another three-point play opportunity. And it's Soltis, the redshirt freshman, grabs the rebound for James Madison. Back in the lineup, Cassie Ingram for the Thundering Herd. Robinson surveys. Oh, looked like she wanted to take the screen and then drives to the bucket, misses the layup.
And look who got that rebound. We were just talking about Brianna McLeod, another offensive board.
Chesterfield got the rebound and pulled it away and has the outlet pass to create the play at the opposite end. James Madison hustles back defensively to negate any chance at a clean shot. That's McDaniel right into your living room. Assuming that's where you're watching from, of course. Oh, nice move on the baseline to get free for Lewis Utsi. Transfer from Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU. And as a Ram, she had 18 points against the Dukes. That was later in her career. Her first meeting against James Madison when she was a freshman, she only put 2 minutes in on the floor and did not score against JMU. All right, timeout on the floor. 47-28, the Dukes. Marshall has trimmed just 1 point off the 20-point halftime disadvantage.
All right.
Hyatt Place Harrisonburg. We care for people so they can be their best. And James Madison Athletics would like to thank its Team Madison sponsors, Pepsi and Centera. Hey, you think James Madison would look pretty good in a tie-dye?
Hey, not bad.
Somebody should have put one on him this past week, huh?
A little shout out for maybe losing Bobby Weir from the Grateful Dead this past week. Big loss to the Deadhead community.
That was Jeff Salem in honor of that. A few other, I know Mr. Buck is wearing a little tie-dye today,
a couple
too.
tie-dyes around the house. Peace out, y'all.
In case you do not know, Missy is a music aficionado.
Ooh,
she knows her bands. She probably knows more bands that you don't know. As well as there's Robinson.
My kids have taught me a lot of the newer music. I'm kind of stuck in the 60s and the 70s, along with the Grateful Dead fans.
Is Mick Jagger still your all-time favorite?
Yeah, he's still pretty much up there.
Okay.
Yep. Still kicking, too. Mick's like 82.
It's amazing.
It is crazy.
You know, put him and Steve Tyler together, and it's like, whoa.
Wow. I never liked him for his looks, you know.
There you go. And the Dukes break the press, but miss the opportunity. There's McDaniel. She is held as she tries to get a shot up. And when I came to James Madison a number of years ago and you were playing, that was one of the early off-the-court things that I learned about you, is that you were a big Rolling Stones fan.
I think that was in the media guide.
I think it was, yes.
You know, Coach Mormon and Morrison came to my house for a visit.
There it is, 2,000 points for Peyton McDaniel in her career.
There it is from the foul line.
103 times she has hit for at least 10 points in a ball game. And that's in her career.
Congratulations.
And 18 times this year.
What an accolade. You got to clap for that one, too. Yeehaw.
More than likely, they'll do a little pregame ceremony, if not Saturday, in the near future. And there is rebound number 900. So they come in successive order.
Back to back. You can't ask for anything better than that.
Okay, so let's go through some of the numbers here. As Soltis chucks up a three-pointer. She's got a long way to go to catch Peyton, but the all-time record at James Madison for points is Dawn Evans. Finished up her career in 2011, 2,667. Precious Hall is second, and then Tamara Young. Tamara and Peyton are the only two players in JMU history with 2K points and 900 career rebounds.
Really, that's amazing. And they're both threes, right? They both play the 3 to 4 position, yes. Or mainly 3.
Well, they different style players, no doubt about it. Of course,
well, really, they're positionless players if you think about it. Both of those two.
Yeah, Tamara went on to have a great career in the WNBA. Started in Atlanta, played some time, spent some time in Chicago, and then Las Vegas.
Out of Wilmington, North Carolina, I remember.
There goes McDaniel and the foul.
Now these two teams are still scrapping, playing hard, as you would expect.
Foul was on Lewis Bootsy. That is her second. No, I'm sorry, that is her first. And McDaniel back to the stripe with a dozen points. Sound of a clean swish. Shooting at 78% from the free throw line this year. Now, can she catch Tamara Young, 2,121 points? Yes, she can. If she were to average 10 points the rest of the regular season, she would catch Tamara. Catching Precious would be tough. There you see, there's the all-time scoring leaders. Evans, Hall, Young, McDaniel, and then Kamaya Smalls, who just finished up her career a few years ago here.
That's a powerful lineup right there.
I'm going to ask Coach O how he would like to have all them playing for him right now. What he might say.
What a lineup that would be. Wow.
A lot of points. Soltis leaves it for Robinson and lays it up easy.
Yeah, Robinson having what's looking to be a career game for her. Excellent game. Hasn't turned the ball over. Number of assists, a couple assists and rebounds and steals to go along with those 17 points.
A foul stops play. This is on Robinson. That's her third. Yeah, Bree showed early on this season that she was going to be a bit more of a scorer this year. You may recall when Denise Dillon had the Villanova Wildcats here early on in the year. It was November the 16th. She dropped in 22 points.
Was that the night she lit it up? Yep.
That was a career high for her.
And that was a good team to score those amounts of points against.
Started her career at Michigan State, played against the Dukes when she was a Spartan. So she's
a fun player to watch on both ends of the court.
Well, this is interesting. She's going to stay in with the 3 fouls. McDaniel will come out. So Bree Robinson and Coach Sean O'Regan had a bit of a conversation there, and he was saying, you got 3 fouls. Just remember, you got 3 fouls. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, she's getting a lot of minutes here this evening. More minutes, I think, than anyone else. Coach O looks like he's playing around with the lineup, like we mentioned earlier, with Regina Walton. Those 3 guards, Stevenson, Robinson, and Walton. Gives a different look for JMU in the backcourt.
And a miss on the free throw rebound for McLeod. Hands it off to Robinson.
Walton, by the way, picked up 5 points and was perfect shooting. for the Dukes.
Down inside, McLeod draws a bit of attention, knocked out of bounds. Good hands for Redman. Dukes have only turned over the ball twice today, Missy. That's another
amazing.
main reason why the gap is what it is.
Don't jinx them, Kurt.
Well, I'll be quiet. How about that? Marshall fans will say, jinx them, jinx them. Welcome into the Marshall fans, by the way. I know the score is not what you hope it would be, but
Got a couple
hope you
folks
enjoy.
traveled. Hopefully
Yep.
heading on over to Norfolk, maybe catch the Saturday game as well.
From the corner, no good. Battle for the basketball. Tracked down in the corner. It's Ingram that comes away with it. Ilderton. Over the top they go, and that is Stevenson got a hand on the basketball. Arrow, it's a jump ball. The arrow favors JMU with 1:50 to go in the third. And coming back in for the Dukes, Regina Walton.
Great D by Z Stevenson there.
All right, McDonough coming back in as well. Yeah, when the Dukes at 3-3 in the conference, when you pull out their conference statistics, the only thing that's glaring was some turnover situations. A lot of the other numbers read pretty good. I mean, they were very good. So there was something intangible that, why the Dukes were not a little better in conference play. And quite frankly, it's unfortunate for JMU in the sense that they've got some very good non-conference wins against some good name programs like Wisconsin, Boston College, Virginia Tech. Foul at the opposite end.
Right, that's going to be a block on Redmond.
Yeah, Redmond's first personal foul.
Yeah, Redmond coming off that injury last year. She didn't get to play last year. I guess she got injured in November. I have that written down somewhere.
Yeah, she
missed the whole season.
Yeah, when she stepped on the court and played 9 minutes against Buffalo, it was 364 days since her injury.
Well, it's good to see her back out there. That's good news for someone like Olivia Olson, for example. And of course, Peyton McDaniel is a living, breathing example of how you can come back from a serious injury and create the type of career she had for herself here at James Madison.
And she was the 21 CAA Rookie of the Year, then was hurt. And Stevenson gets in with another steal and a foul called against Ilderton, jumping on.
Marshall foul on number 20.
That's the first on Peyton Ilderton. Now she's good for a steal or two too. She has 75 coming into today's game in her career.
Zakiah Stevenson at the line, shooting two.
Zakiah Stevenson at the free throw line to shoot a couple. She has not scored today. She does come in with a career best 4 consecutive games in double-figure scoring, but quite frankly, scoring is not what the Dukes ask of her.
Yeah, she's had some big games on the road. That big game I think you mentioned, Georgia Southern or Georgia State, where she had a career high. One of these Georgia road trip games.
Yeah, Georgia State 22.
Great shooter, but not necessarily her role on this team, especially with Bree Robinson as her guard mate.
Nearly got another steal. That should be a foul, and it is called against McDonough. That is the second on the James Madison freshman.
Dukes foul on number 22, Grace McDonough.
So a couple of free throws. Back to the line goes Lewis Utsi. Understand that she was hoping to get 1,000 points in Marshall's last game, which was at home against Coastal Carolina. Her family was in attendance.
Yes.
Came just 2 points shy.
Yeah.
Didn't make the trip here today, but they got a chance to watch it on ESPN Plus, I would hope.
Well, I hope they got to see her play here on the tube. Yeah, Coach Folks just shaking her head. Bless her heart. It's just been a tough night for her. But you figure it would happen. How many teams are going to do what JMU did last year, which was really an oddity to go 18-0,
undefeated.
It's hard to do. And as frustrating as it is, I think it's good. It's humbling to lose, and it's good. Look what JMU did last year. I think the way the Sun Belt Conference tournament was set up, they only had to win 2 games. They won 1 and lost in the championship.
Timeout on the floor. We'll take a media timeout with just 31 seconds to go. JMU up by a considerable margin. Well, in the house, James Madison women's basketball alum, Ksenia Kozlova. You really enjoyed watching her play,
oh, yeah.
I know.
I love watching Susha Kozlova.
As we all did.
She had a little shot.
They put her up on the video board. And she got a little shy there. Well, welcome back, Ksenia.
Good to see that smile again in the house.
Yeah, look, I think she's got a tear coming out there. She being back here at her alma mater. I think this is the first time she's been back since she graduated last year. And during the media timeout as well, recognition of Peyton McDaniel. She got a standing O. And a big hug from Coach O on reaching 2,000. And he said, get down there to the scorer's table, get checked back in. We need some more points out of you. Speaking of points, Missy, this one kind of snuck up on me. So JMU started off with a 13-0 run en route to the 27-2 quarter in the first. They have another 13-0 run working right now.
Yeah, they're shooting well again.
But
43% in the third quarter there for the Dukes. But you said?
But Redmond is going to end that with a free throw, and I'm not sure why she's.
There was some scuttlebutt going on. I'm
Okay.
not sure what was happening behind the scenes. Coach Folks won, though. I know that.
So Redmond gets a couple of free throws. That stops the second 13-0 run. James Madison did have a 15-0 run in the third quarter against Queens, coached by former JMU Duke Jen Brown. I guess there was a foul on Stevenson before those free throws.
Beautiful move by Blessing King. Oh, I'm sorry, I had the name wrong. That was Williams. I had my number 1 and my number 2 combined. Trishonda Williams with the bucket.
And Trishonda just did come into the lineup. Missed 4 games in December. The last one was against James Madison. And started 8 out of the first 10 games of the season and has been coming off the bench since. That's the end of our third quarter of play. And the Dukes win that period 21-13. JMU looking for win number 4 in conference play. Marshall in jeopardy of getting its first conference loss of 25-26.
More often than not, teams have the same starting rotation and lineup, but that's not how Coach Folks runs this Marshall team. So far tonight, they've played 10 out of their 13 players on the roster. Coach Folks told us her reasoning for this is they play game to game, and whoever has shown up and played well is who will play. Along with that is each player having a different skill set, so they all understand their roles and sharing that playing spot.
It was interesting. She has a PhD, and I asked her, I said, what was her dissertation? She hesitated and she laughed and she said, well, I'm kind of nerdy, right? As we begin the fourth quarter. And she did a.
How can you be nerdy if you're a basketball coach, especially as cool as she is?
Well, you know, nerdiness can be cool at times too, I guess. If nerdiness is the word,
if
I'm
you're
not
talking
sure.
analytics.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, her thesis was on neuroscience and how you can use that to build trust and quicken the pace of communication. Now think about this. She's been coaching for over 20 years. She did this 2 decades ago. In today's modern college world, what do you need to do quickly? Develop
Exactly
trust
what she learned 20 years
and
ago.
communicate.
I told her she's in the wrong profession. She could be making a lot more money on the circuit.
My goodness.
Teaching other coaches how to be more efficient and less amount of time that they have to spend with these kids. Talking about the transfer portal, of course, and it's not like the old days.
Dukes with a turnover. They've only had 5 in the ball game. Make that 6 after that. A rebound for Robinson. By the way, JMU men's basketball down at App State at halftime, 38-27. She was also, she gave kudos to James Madison men's basketball coach Preston Spradlin. They crossed paths when she was coaching at Transylvania, a Division III school where she won her national championship and won a lot of those 400 victories came there at that school. And I asked her too, I said, well, at the Division I level, can you do things with athleticism? You couldn't there. She said, no, because we actually had Division I players on the roster at Transylvania. Well, one thing that JMU has really exploited today, and this is something Coach Folks talked about, transition defense. It has not been a strong point today for the Thundering Herd.
No, not at all. They just got taken out of their game from the get-go. The Dukes just came out of the gate just firing.
Robinson with 19 points. She has been the big benefactor of the transition offense for the Dukes.
Oh, the big three for the Dukes. 3 double-figure scores. Robinson, Barnes, and McDaniel.
This time it's Grace McDonough who is the benefactor. She has 6. And a timeout called by the Thundering Herd just 2 minutes and 2 seconds into the 4th period.
That just doubled the score here.
64-32, 7:58 remaining as the Dukes have dominated from the get-go, looking for the wire-to-wire win. Bree Robinson has had a great game here tonight, missing.
Yes, she has. Been fun to watch on both ends of the court, but this time, tonight, it's been more on the offensive end of the court.
Started things off with hitting the early three-pointer. She's had a couple of trays here tonight. Picked up a bunch of her points on transition plays, and a foul called on the floor, a holding foul against the Dukes. We did learn that there was a flagrant 1 foul called against Stevenson. That's why we had the free throws.
That was the scuttlebutt a bit ago.
Shanti Barnes picks up her first personal foul. And that's just the first foul here in the 4th quarter of play. Barnes knocks it free. Stevenson comes up with it. Ahead it goes to Barnes. Barnes running the floor, left-handed layup. Too strong. Soltis comes streaking in. Marshall, though, controls the rock.
A nice D by Marshall in that Barnes breakaway.
Redman to Mayer. Mayer's been relatively quiet tonight, just the 1 3-pointer. There's one for her.
Now that's what I was expecting to see, a little more about a Casey Ingram this evening, especially with Olsen out of the lineup. She just hasn't really gotten loose tonight to take that shot. Nailed that one, though.
Robinson to Stevenson, and it is to Barnes.
Beautiful teamwork again by the Dukes.
Barnes, 16 points. Stevenson, 0 for 6 from the floor tonight. That is her 5th assist this evening. Make that 6. They just tacked it on. Mayer throws it into the hands of Stevenson.
Stevenson's got 3 steals to go along.
Hands it off to McDaniel, and it whirls around like they had done that time and time again here at the Atlantic Union Bank Center.
Lots of smiles in this arena this evening for the Dukes.
McDaniel up to 16 points. That's her 2nd tray tonight. And she's moving up on the tray board as well. Here's Robinson again to McDaniel.
Bree says, I'll take that assist.
Layup line.
Yeah, Coach O'Regan said, we just got to play better. All this team needs is a few wins, and we're off. And here you go. He asked, and they answered.
He felt they were so close.
Yeah, we'll see if they can turn this around and do the same thing on Saturday. Very tough matchup coming up for the Dukes.
This will avoid, as that ball is shot as the horn was sounding, and it goes off the rim. No good there for Stevenson to come up with it for the Dukes. This will avoid a 3-game losing streak in conference play for the Dukes, and the first time as a Sun Belt member, this being season number 4. Shanti Barnes, both Marshall and JMU coming into the Sun Belt at the same time. JMU coming in from the Colonial Athletic Association. Marshall coming in from Conference USA. Now, they've also been a member of the SoCon, the Southern Conference, the Mid-American Conference. That's when they went to Division I football. Robinson missing the three-pointer. Barnes batted around. She was the last to touch it. And wholesale substitutions for both teams. Marshall will send 3 new faces. The Dukes will bring in 4. And among the 4 for James Madison is Gemma Ellaby, freshman from Virginia Beach, attended Catholic High School in the 757. She did play here in both games of the last homestand for the Dukes against Georgia State and Texas State. Those are her first ball games played in since playing down at Texas. So not a lot of minutes, but she was injured early on in the season. Wearing number 12 for JMU. Skip pass near side, Lewis Utste. Draws a foul, draws a trip to the free throw line.
Dukes foul on number 4, Delilah Soltis.
Delilah Soltis has her first personal foul. This is also an area that, you know, this is an off night for Marshall when they're shooting just 42% from the free throw line.
Yes.
I mean, coming in, this is the best free throw shooting team in the conference at 75%. They rank 55 nationally.
Yes, it is just not their night here in Harrisonburg.
So the Thundering Herd hoping this is just an anomaly, but not a great way to start a 4-game road stretch.
Well, you can't take away the 6-0 record they came in here with.
No, you certainly can't. They do have that. King comes up with a steal and turned right back over to JMU with 4:04 to go. Again, the Dukes are back at home here at 1 o'clock on Saturday. You got to check the time on all these games. They're all over the place. This being a 6 o'clock start here tonight. And they'll welcome in Georgia Southern. So they're going to face the 2 teams that are at the top of the standings at home this week.
Back to back.
Georgia Southern handing the Dukes a loss as Soltis, with 7 seconds to go on the shot clock, lays it up and in. 4 points, 7 and 8.
8 points and 6 boards for Soltis.
Georgia Southern handing the Dukes a 78-70 loss last week in Statesboro, Georgia. From the corner, the baseline drive, and a foul again on Soltis as Lewis Eustace just driving it down the baseline. Second foul on Soltis.
And they're having the free throw shooting woes that the Dukes have had the last few games. Just 5 of 14 from the line for the Marshall team.
Lewis Utsis with 8 points. Misses 1 out of 2. Utsi, second in scoring coming in, 16.8 points per game. She's at half that. And Marshall working through some contact to earn her way to the free throw line for a couple. Marshall yet to score tonight. Trashandra Williams has her first personal foul, a senior from Flint, Michigan, and a transfer from Columbia State Community College. Dukes 11 out of 15 following the miss. Yeah, Dukes did not shoot free throws very well in their recent losses also, as Marshall is in the scoring column. 76-36. The Dukes are 3 points away from free chicken nuggets, I should say, from Chick-fil-A.
Everybody's favorite, Chick-fil-A. And there's another block by McLeod for the Dukes. If I'm not mistaken, McLeod is leading the nation in block shots coming off the bench. I saw that in some of the JMU paperwork I had, so I assumed that that was right when it was given to me. That's a nice stat.
It is. Redmond has her first field goal.
And McLeod doesn't get a whole lot of minutes for this Dukes team, but still gets those block shots when she's in there.
She's going to get a whole lot of minutes in the SMAD 243 class starting next Tuesday.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
You got Miss McLeod.
Yes, she is in there, and she puts that bucket in.
Speaking of, she said, hey, Kurt, I got one for you.
There you go.
I'll take those two. Can I get an A for that next paper, by the way? How many of the student athletes do you have?
Actually, she's the only one among 60 students, as it's
really?
dropped in from the outside by Williams.
Yeah, McLeod's been an excellent addition to this Dukes team. I just love how she keeps the ball alive. I know we've talked about it before, but she does a lot of intangibles that just don't show up on the stat sheet.
Tumbles on off the rim, and Soltis hits the deck. She is pushed and fouled. Foul is called against Williams. By the way, Williams hit that three-pointer the last time down from Marshall. That's only her fourth of the year.
And Marshall hasn't shot near the 3 points shots that they typically do. Only 21 attempts tonight.
Duke's looking to go 63-23 all time in this facility, the Atlantic Union Bank Center, that opened up in 2020-21. So this is the 6th season. JMU leads this series 10-5. That did hit the rim. Dukes, they got a couple of things also working here. Last time the Dukes gave up less than 45 points in a ball game was against Queens. That was on November 9th. Queens only scored 38 in that contest, and they're 3-0 when holding the score less than 50 this year, 11-0 all time. And JMU will also improve since joining the Sun Belt to 45-0 when holding an opponent to 59 or fewer points in a ball game. Just a few things we keep up with.
I don't know how you guys do it.
A lot of people. And the foul as McLeod will go back to the stripe. Do want to thank David O'Leary, Sports Information Director for Marshall Women's Basketball, for his help. Of course, Coach Julie Folks as well for her time this week. And John DeLillo, Sports Information Director for JMU Women's Basketball. And the crowd is happy. They get nuggets from Chick-fil-A tomorrow.
Nuggets.
The line will get even longer. Oh, that one drops in. You can hear it sizzle when it drops in like that. Just as the Nuggets hit the grease.
Get some food-driven fans here in the crowd.
Now, JMU's win over Texas State here, the 35-point win, was its largest against the Sun Belt foe. This, as a Sun Belt member for JMU, this will top that. So back-to-back blowout wins for the Dukes. As the buzzer sounds, the bucket is good for Williams. I do believe, yep, they'll chalk it up. And so James Madison, a wire-to-wire win, jumping out with a 13-0 lead. Led 27-2 by shooting 71% in the first quarter, while Marshall shot under 8% in the opening stanza. Thundering Herd did pick up a little bit of ground in the second quarter, but after that, not much happening for the Thundering Herd as JMU wins it 80-43. Dukes end up shooting 46% and out-rebound the Thundering Herd 48-30. And let's join Cece Evans as she has the Dukes' victorious head coach, Sean O'Regan.
Oh, Congrats on the win. You said you wanted your team to show back up and be who you know they are. Do you think today was the first step in the right direction?
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction. And I'm going to choose to keep all my thoughts forward and positive because I think that's an important step for us. But yeah, this team is capable of way more than what our record is showing, and that's where we're going to continue to fight forward on that.
Coach O, I've talked to you about her plenty of times over the years, but Peyton McDaniel hits a milestone tonight, 2,000 points, 900 rebounds. How cool is it to see her hit those milestones?
Yeah, she didn't know she just needed 10. I did. I was on pins and needles the whole time until she got there. But yeah, man, it was one of her goals. And you know what? You don't get that if you leave here, right? If you leave, you got to start a new count at wherever you go. And so her loyalty is unbelievable, and she's truly a unicorn. So I'm gonna enjoy the last 11 regular season games with her, and then whatever postseason we can get to. But it's really awesome for her. Really proud of her.
Thanks, Coach O. Congrats on the win.
Thanks, Cece.
All right, we're going to get Peyton McDaniel to come on over, and after she gets another hug from her head coach. Peyton started here, came in 2021 when this facility opened up, and let's go back to Cece.
Peyton, your team had a tough week. Multiple players showed up tonight. What do you think this says about the resiliency of your team?
Yeah, I think just our ability to bounce back. You know, we did have a rough week last week, but, you know, we know who we are, and we know last week wasn't who we were. So we really wanted to show up today and just be us.
I know the milestone you want is the championship, but tonight you hit 2,000 points, 300 rebounds. How cool is it to do that?
Yeah, it means a lot. Just with my teammates and my coaching staff. I mean, it's great to do it with them.
Thanks, Peyton. Great game.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Cece. And thanks to Peyton. Also, thanks again to the Duke's head coach, Sean O'Regan. Well, Missy, you and I chatted before the game just what we thought about it. And it's really tough when you've got the first place team coming in playing so well, 15-3, its best 18 game record since you were playing at JMU back in the late 1980s. Just to get blitzed like that, you can't predict it. For Marshall, they just have to put this one aside and just forget about it and move on. Just like Coach O'Regan said, we're just going to think positive and go forward.
Right. Well, Coach Folks is still sitting a little nicer than Coach O'Regan at the moment at 6-1, even though she just lost. So yeah, I mean they just need to regroup, go down to Old Dominion, try to get a good win there. And as far as the Dukes, great performance here tonight, and let's see if they can turn around and do the same thing on Saturday. And they're going to have to against this very good Georgia Southern team.
Yeah, now the Dukes say that
nice
they are back, made a good statement. This is who they are, and they'll have to come back and show themselves again on a Saturday. Again, that game is at 1 o'clock. You can watch it here on ESPN+. So, Missy, thanks again for being with us here today. We look forward to having you back on Saturday.
I'll be here.
All right, very good. Our thanks also to our producer today, Kelly Bowmaster, John Hodges, our director, Ty Comer on replay, Chris Jackson on audio, and David Holby with all those spectacular graphics. That's right. And thanks to the sports information and athletic communication staffs of both schools. For CC Evans and Missy Buck, I'm Kurt Dudley saying good night, everyone, from the Atlantic Union Bank Center, where the Dukes cash in a big win, 80-43 over the Marshall Thundering Herd. This has been a presentation of the JMU Sports Network for the Sun Belt Conference at ESPN+. Good night, everyone.